After high school, you have this image of the world where it's now your time, your journey, you get to find and have your own real try at having a normal life like everybody else. And the problem is that is just a fucking lie, bro. Certain people, when they left high school, they went to realities that were darker immediately. They were already living dark realities. So when they left school, they just lost that one constant. Maybe some people ended up fighting to go to college. Maybe some people didn't make it. And even for me, I didn't really do the whole college thing. I did community college for a little bit, but eventually I just started working because I didn't see the point. And some other stuff happened that I was at work more than I was at school, and it would have taken forever. So what I really don't like is the image we have of the world, the way school is set up now, because you don't really learn anything about how to potentially start your own business, how to potentially create value in the world. We now live in a world where there's so much technology and there's so much shit to do. And I transferred schools, so even seeing the balance at the school I went to that was in a worse area, which was predominantly a certain color, that school, we didn't really do anything crazy, and all the good stuff was centered towards the arts and I guess music and stuff, and like sports. When I went to this other school, it was so multifaceted. We had random class teaching us iMovie and shit. We had a bunch of random classes teaching us just how to make a bunch of shit, how to create actual websites. We had random classes actually telling us about checks and shit, but I think we had that at the other school. I just wasn't old enough yet. The problem is, I really can't stand the fact that some people get to live a life where they're given their first car, they're given their first 3 cars, and their first job is something with their family where they started out at 19 an hour. 19 an hour back in the day was crazy. And even if you had a normal job where you were grinding and everything else was fine, certain people could just pay for their own stuff. Certain people had to, well, I guess didn't have to. Everybody can leave. Maybe depending where you live if you can afford it, but most people have to pay for family stuff. Like they have to pitch in, they have to do stuff. So whatever minimum wage thing you're getting, you're not getting. For the people who are going to college and do the college thing, I don't know, they kind of always seem to randomly pop up with another job. Like in real life, when I see people who actually have college, they just pop up with a random job. Most of the people I know went to school for like real stuff though, like they're engineers. And my family, there's a bunch of randoms in a separate company and they're all working in the same company, so there's a little weird nepotism there. But in other people's situations, what do? They go work at Taco Bell, or they work at a grocery store, they move up to manager, and they stay at like that middling level and buy a white SUV and drive around forever. And then you have the illusion of safety too. Out of nowhere, it's wartime. Out of nowhere, gas prices are going up. Out of nowhere, random crime is going up. Out of nowhere, people are ruder than ever. People are more on edge than ever. People are more willing to go there than ever. And it's just, the world itself is turning dark. Every time you turn on the internet, it's either going far one way or far the other way. You kind of got to disconnect from the shit, and you're in a balance of paying attention so you know what's going on, but not constantly absorbing negativity so you forget what's the point of living. And then you have to deal with that massive question at the exact same time. And it's funny, they always say the things like people who are struggling and going through war times aren't thinking about like what it means to be alive and their purpose in life. They're just trying to make it through the day. I'm certain that they're wondering why they have to suffer like that. What's the point of their suffering? What do their lives even matter? What do their lives mean? They're certainly thinking about these things. To pretend like these people are so encapsulated with life that those things would go away. No, they're dealing with that as well. It's an overwhelming burden, and hopefully I don't have to understand exactly what that's like, but everybody has dealt with some sort of tragedy and some sort of turmoil or a long period of time where I guess things felt uneasy and uncertain. And if you haven't, that's pretty lucky, but that isn't the point. The point is, after high school, some of us, even people who make mistakes, like not everybody is a victim and just a brat and like I don't know, just a victim of circumstance and somebody who thinks they're just making it through and the world is attacking them. Some people make mistakes, some people go through things, some people have emotional situations, some people have kids and shit, and like, I'm sure that's like financially sucking. People say it is, but nobody can ever give me a number. Even in real life, I know like single moms today, and I'm like, all right, how much it really costs? Like, how much are you really spending on this kid? And then they just act like it's $1 bajillion. And I'm like, when we work at the same place and your mom's also a single mom, and so like there can't be that much money in it. Like, what's going on? Anyway, I think it's a myth. I think kids don't cost that much, and everybody just says that so we don't procreate. I think it's a fucking falsity. Nobody can give me a fucking number, because if the number is good enough, I will fucking do it 12 times. Anyway, random tangent. The point is, even things like that, we do have these feelings. The feeling that, like, I know a lot of people, they have not made these mistakes. They haven't done anything wrong. After high school, they did the college thing. They did the full college thing, couldn't really get a job in the fields that they wanted, so they ended up doing whatever the fuck I'm doing, random office jobs and shit, or like sales and stuff. And some people end up pretty well off and doing well, but some people end up getting stuck in the middling area, or they're just a manager somewhere, or they're just an employee somewhere. Everybody has varying levels of competencies and aspirations. So seeing people who are normal people now say owning a house is a pipe dream, having kids is a pipe dream, being able to marry a girl who sees the lifestyle they have is acceptable as a pipe dream, and they're just normal people who go to work. Like, they're not doing anything unimpressive. Like, these are the people who make the roads clear. Like, the snow, everyone's dead without these people. You're gonna get snowed in, you're screwed. They're fixing your toilets, they're fixing your walls, they're fixing your floors. Like, these people, they're telling me that it's a dream for them to have kids and shit. And I see other people who do similar things and they seem fine, but then I see how the families they come from, and I see the circles they run with, and the clients that they get, and just the areas they live in as well, and they're just gonna make money. Everything isn't equal and everything isn't even, and somehow, I don't know, I feel like it shouldn't be a direct correlation. I feel like coming from money shouldn't put you directly in a better position than not coming from money, but somehow that happens every time. Because I know people who didn't come from money, and when they first interact with the world, they end up getting the shitty stuff, and they have to grind up, and they land at a certain point, but they never get too big. Then I watch everybody who comes from a well-off family, they come out the gates in the nice neighborhood with the crazy apartment and a crazy vehicle. How the fuck does that happen? I guarantee the parents aren't just like paying for their lives like this either. So I don't understand how that keeps happening. I understand if it was I'm talking about 25 little niggas that like had nothing really impressive about them. They're working at a random manufacturing plant. Maybe these manufacturing plants are paying them more than I think. Actually, they're 100% are, because when she told me I know a girl that's dating one of them too. So she told me how much the guy makes. And I know a lot of people working at that same factory, they make about $12 less than what he's making. How the fuck does he make that much? Bro's fresh out of high school. He just turned 22. Like, he doesn't have any special like accolades or anything. So it's really weird to see that shit. What he does have is 3 generations of men tied to the same company, tied to the same business, and tied to the same area. But isn't that like crazy nepotism for that to like directly correlate to what he's making? So there has to be something else there that I don't know, and that obviously isn't being explained to me through this random girl. But that's a real aspect of life. Even like with my friends that I have, certain friends, they do certain things and it just works out. Most of my friends have been at like 20 something an hour for almost a fucking decade now, like working normal fucking jobs. Sure, they received their cars from their parents and shit, and sure they got like their school paid for and shit, and like a bunch of shit that's probably like a bonus, but I don't like looking at that shit because it's all just excuses. But those things do add up, those things do exist, and getting that first car is kind of like a big fucking leap. And getting a job and maintaining a job and having a good job, especially if you don't live in an area where public transportation is like good, it's kind of hard to do when you can't move around. Like, I have family that literally had to buy extra cars just so that somebody can get employed. It's like, it wasn't even a concept that he could just walk somewhere. It's like, well, I mean, if you gonna work at the liquor store where the same guy's been working at the liquor store and, like, you know, he's not quitting or dying anytime soon, so you're probably not going to get that job. Like, you're probably not going to take the jobs of all these people who have been here for 15 years plus. So you kind of got to drive to the next town that's 40 minutes away. And that is kind of the case for a lot of places, and there's 5 million other circumstances that makes it difficult to get a job, not to mention all the vast people who came into the country. And, you know, there's 5 million reasons why you might have some wealth disparity. But when it comes down to how we interact with the world and how that interacts with us feeling purpose, it's all an illusion. Like, at school they say all this bullshit, like you can work hard and like you can do things, and that, bro, the fact that we're letting kids think they want to be astronauts, who the fuck is the last astronaut? How the fuck are we doing astronaut training? Is that really a thing? When's the last time anybody went into space? Why is that something we talk about? Why don't we talk about real things? Why aren't schools structured so that children can actually create something and be more entrepreneurial? Why aren't we starting programs to capitalize on the vast marketing wave? Like, you don't even have to be all that interesting. Just think about the way that these algorithms are working and things that you can put together. You could damn near farm children who are like entertainers within the school system. Like, there are so many ways. And then we don't really enrich the academic fields anymore. Like, talent shows, I guarantee over the country, talent shows are pretty much gone. Nobody's really reading books anymore. Book clubs in general are probably going away. I mean, the human connection and us doing things is out of here. And especially with like short content, we have more ability to showcase the normal, everyday, mundane aspects of being a person than we ever have. And still, we're kind of not tapping into that. We're still not quite human. We're still a little off from the mark, and it's really depressing. And it shows in everybody's life. That's why everybody's tense. That's why crime's going up. That's why young people, even younger than before, are throwing their lives away in normal situations. People in like well-off situations, they're just like throwing their lives away for nothing. It's crazy to see it. I've been in this new town for a few years now, and just at the beginning of this year, it was almost like an immediate wave. Like, it shifted. It was like we went into a fucking negaverse or some shit. Like, everybody's going crazy, crime's going crazy, accidents are going crazy, random shootings, the kids are going crazy. And it's like the very young demographic, and then apparently the old demographic overnight. Like, I'm seeing Chicago levels when a nigga just left Chicago. Like, why is everything exploding like this? And the meaninglessness is going up, and then I'm guessing the drug use is probably going up because of the first thing. And putting those together, they're probably in some weird dissociative state, and then emotions come and they just like make a decision. I don't really know what's going on. And the weird part is, some people are dying, but a lot of these crimes, I don't know, they're just strange. There was a lot of shootings at first, and I think only one of them ended in one death. And then there was even before this, there was a few months of just like finding random bodies in the river. Like, desperation and darkness is just coming up, and I think it was just always there. When you come out of high school, you think about the world in like probably the last 30 years, or even the years that you've been alive. But it's funny, once I started working with people who are older than me, and they start talking about like shit that was long ago, like when anybody talking about a president before like McCain, it's like people keep asking me about Reagan. I don't know what the fuck Reagan is. Who the fuck is Reagan, nigga? Like, what? They'll talk about old shit and like TV shows from the past, and there's certain things that I'm locked in with, but like, bro, I don't know what the fuck y'all old heads are talking about. But when you think about it, that shit was not that long ago. 100 years, 300 years was not that long ago. Our world is not as sophisticated as we think it to be. These are still countries and nations negotiating with each other, having tactics and trying shit. These are still people. Everything that's running is still a system designed by people. This security that we kind of feel, at least in the Western world, this feeling that, you know, everything's gonna be okay, and if something happens, you can call the cops and the cops will show up. Bro, I was in an accident the other day, and nobody was like really hectic or like trying to attack each other over it, but I've seen accidents go there. Cops did not get there for like 40 minutes, bro. Say that got aggressive. 40 minutes. What are these little Chinese kids gonna do if I was like some crazy attacker? Or vice versa. What am I gonna do when I'm on the news for shooting some crazy attacker? Like, it's gonna be that 45 minutes, brother. Like, that's fucking crazy. In the rain, with emotions high like this and desperations high like this, I can see how things can get bad. Either way, I pretty much just wanted to talk about how the illusion of safety and security is there. The illusion of fairness and being able to grind and just be okay is there. And sure enough, everything isn't just hopeless. I'm not saying like give up on life or anything like that. But what I am saying is shit is rough out here. And for some people, it's much rougher than others. And understanding the world and understanding life and understanding what it means to be a person and doing the best you can with what you have. I don't know how long that can be enough for people who don't have much. And even if you take it beyond that and think about like your position in the world and the world being an illusion, even if you take it to a deeply spiritual area, like what do? Spend the rest of your life in devotion and then renounce the world and I don't know, live in a state of pseudo suffering forever? It's none of it's clear, and going down the journey is, I guess, the biggest point, and figuring it out is something I feel like I have to figure out with other people. I've gotten as far as I feel I can get just reading and studying and listening to swamis and listening to people use science to decipher the secrets of the universe and quantum space and fucking light particles and waves and shit. I've gotten about as far as that's going to take me, because the next part is seeing how to connect it to actual humanity, to connect it to being connected to at least the perspective of the world you have, to actually have, I don't know, maybe what we do need is some form of mass enlightenment where people are seeing the game and just not playing and finding solace in the truth of the universe. And that's kind of my main goal. It's kind of been my main goal since I've been 14 years old. I want the truth of the universe. I used to want magic because I thought there might be magic in the world and that would be the hidden truth, and after that I would crack everything. But now I'm more thinking there's this unity here, and there's this great cosmic hyper consciousness that we're all a part of, and there's a way to connect to that and feel that and be less you and be more everything. And that state, you're probably going to experience all the same shit, but you won't necessarily see the separation anymore. And living that truth and existing in that truth, that's got to be a better perspective than this one, huh? It's kind of that simple. I used to try and make it as earnest as humanly possible, but it's that simple. I want a conscious state that is more connected to everything so that I suffer less. It's minimizing suffering through seeking the truth and seeking God and seeking enlightenment. And I'm no longer really ashamed of that, because that's just my nature, man. I kind of hate the world. I'm what do they call it, disinterested with the impermanent, and that is becoming irritating. I hate days off because I'm just at home and I'm like, damn, I'm doing nothing. What do I do today? And I just have to figure something out. And that's what this video really was today. I was just figuring something out. I was gonna do a really long Pokemon video, but I'm in this slump where I don't want to talk about Pokemon. I want to do meaningful shit. But my Pokemon videos bring views. My Pokemon videos are fun, and my Pokemon videos are what I've wanted to do my entire life. So I do want to do those as well, but at the moment I want to discover the fucking universe. I want to understand the Lord and the nature of the world. I want to understand my connection to the universe on a intimate level, to the point where I'm always thinking about it. I want to be able to connect to everyone perfectly forever, even if that means discarding everything that I am and becoming nothing. So I probably just have to read more, bro. I guess I'll read the Gita again. And yeah, I hope you guys like this video. This was low IQ brain slop that literally leaked out of my head. If you got anything from this video, I don't know how the fuck you did that, because I don't know what the fuck I was talking about this whole time. But like the last video, I'm really glad I made it. I'm probably gonna, who cares what I'm gonna do. I hope you guys are gonna do well. I'm starting to feel a little bit better. This video was heavy, probably because a lot of this shit is fresher that I'm letting on, and a lot of this shit is just, it's still unsettling. Even though I've wrestled with these ideas for a minute, it's a little unsettling knowing that the early 2000s hue that we can put on the world, and the nostalgic view we can see of the world and how the world used to be, even then it wasn't that. It was a transitional period from when the world was harder, and now we're just transitioning again, and change is apparently the nature of the world, and so is suffering. And oh, we're still in this stupid game, huh?